like a very freeing environment, creative environment. Yeah, that's needed, I think, for me to remind me I love music and everyone loves music.
Somewhere in 2009 I saw an advertisement to join the Lichfield Festival chorus.
I was working for the festival at the time, and we had lots of classical musicians coming in, and hugely skilled people and people who read music. And then there was this opportunity to take part in something where you didn't need to read music because it was all, you know, in the oral tradition. And so I thought, well, I'll give that a go.
And then I thought, you know, this was great. This was so enjoyable. We had about 100 people together. It'd be a shame if it finishes. So I thought I have to do something. Hoping we could make it cost effective, around 30, 40 people. But they kept on coming, and it has kept on growing. At the moment we've got about 100 with a waiting list for sopranos and altos, which is good.
Prior to that, I'd been doing gospel choir at the conservatoire. It was quite a divided thing because I was doing like classical music in one style and then gospel choir like in the evening, which was like my outlet. But I learned so much from that experience and from just watching Peter Daly at the piano and how he taught things. I was literally every week I was just watching his fingers and like absorbing all the harmony parts because I just thought it was amazing. And I didn't really, it wasn't something I was like, I have to start a choir or anything like that. It was kind of some circumstance. So the choir got in touch because they were looking for someone to try and continue this thing. It was sort of a natural, well, let's just see where this goes. That's how it started.
I think we mean a lot to him, but obviously we would not exist without Themba. He brings out the best out of us.
He can draw you in, and the whole choir is fixed on his instructions and on his eyes and his movements.
Up, down. Okay, so that's that pattern. So let's just try the first phrase again.
He's totally hypnotic in that respect. He's got a hypnotic, charismatic personality.
And 4. That's up. Spona nezishlo bo nezitandwa.
He is gifted, in my opinion. He's a one-off, he's unique.
Nezitandwa. This is my main experience of conducting, has been with this group. But I know I'm very lucky to have a group that's so eager and so willing to give and to create something. It's sort of, again, it's one of these groovy but very slow, groovy songs. So it's easy to just not do anything. So you have to find, even if it's like going against the time signature, you'd be like looking around, yeah, this song, yeah, this is very cool, yeah. So that, because I just saw I'm too mean, I know, but I occasionally see a little bit of, during the verse, I'm just like, oh, there's a chorus, you know, like, so we need to always look engaged. And I assign the responsibility to you, so that if you see someone next to you who's looking a bit sort of not quite with it, then just a gentle, you know.
He's very tolerant, and even when he's telling us off, he manages to make us laugh in the process, you know. So you rather than being heavy-handed with it, you think, oh, I don't want to let him down, you put in that extra bit of effort. He's absolutely wonderful and so talented himself.
This time, can we try and get everyone together? But you have to know, the words.
Themba's so brilliant and positive and like passionate about it and has so much faith in us that that kind of spreads into everybody, and everybody is like brilliant because of that.
He inspires us all. He does. I know that.
It's for the people who aren't, you know, have never read music or have never had the confidence, who've been told like to not sing or to keep, you know, it's not just for those people, but I want those people to feel like this. Yes, they can participate equally in this choir. Everyone is on this level playing field. Often they'll be clapping in the songs, and I say if someone starts clapping in what apparently is the wrong place, my thing is everyone starts clapping, because we don't want to be like, oh, someone's like an odd one out or something. We want it to be like, oh yeah, this was supposed to happen, this is infectious, and everyone gets involved. That's just like one of the things.
I wrote to Themba saying, look, my voice isn't very good. You know, do you want me to sing quieter? He said, no, whatever you do, come along, sing with gusto and enjoy it. I said, don't worry about the voice, it will come. And I think basically it's got better over the last 12 months.
It's very relaxed. It's just, you go for the fun of it. We're not trying to prove anything. We just want to enjoy ourselves.
I always imagine this as sort of laying the bed ready for you to lie on top of. You know, this is. So we've got sopranos. Walk, walk, walk. Here you go. 1. No snoring. 1, 2, 3, and 4.
It's quite a different experience. I'd sung in choirs before, but much smaller. I mean, church choirs, and the way that the choir sort of is so together, and the way the different parts sort of encourage one another. It's a great experience.
The focus isn't on you, and you know, but you can at times hear your voice kind of melding in with this sound that you couldn't possibly make on your own.
Regardless of your abilities, there's actually a place for you. And even if you don't sing in tune, or if you've forgotten a few words or a few lines, it doesn't matter, because within a choir everything evens out and becomes a whole.
There's something unpressured about all being together, but all kind of facing in one direction and having people by your sides, and you know, and you listen to one another and you help one another and that sort of thing.
You fill every single part of yourself, or maybe like outside of yourself, because you're part of this big group. It's hard to describe, but it's like, yeah, like taking up the most possible space in yourself that you can.
Yes, it's to do with your breath and your heart and just your whole self, actually.
And it can be quite kind of emotional sometimes. So there's like an emotional and an intellectual, and it's also quite physical.
It's one thing to sing, and for a lot of people that's like, okay, I've made it kind of thing, just to get over that and be singing and be confident. But then the movement thing added this extra dimension, which was really interesting, because it was very stiff at first and then it slowly would start relaxing. And now that's all sort of been not that we've gone too far, but like sometimes now we get like everyone is walking around the room and dancing and stuff, and that for me is like I don't know how that's happened, but it's amazing when it does happen now, because you just like I have to remind myself, like at the beginning, like or even like 3-4 years ago, like moving was very rigid and stiff, and so now we've somehow between us created this thing that's very fluid, it's very free, and people are really finding like expression through it, which I think is great. It's not been, it's part of my plan somewhere, but it's not really something that I've sat down and thought about how am I going to get them to relax and how I'm going to get them to move. It just happens week by week, slowly we sort of find this freedom.
It just makes you feel alive. I think that's the word I would use. Makes you feel alive.
What I find is that then you come out singing and then you've still got it going through your brain through the night, when you come home, you're still thinking about the songs.
It's so energising and so much fun. Like I can come home and do about 3 more hours work just because I'm on just like such a high from all the singing and stuff.
It does lift your spirits, it's amazing, it really is almost like meditating, you just forget, you leave your worries at the door, and when you come out, most of them have gone for a bit anyway.
And just lately one or two of us started to go home for a drink afterwards, which is quite nice.
Before I joined the choir, I did have other leisure pursuits. I'm very keen on sport, cricket and so on. But I wasn't actually doing anything in a sort of a leisure sense. And I realised that it was my life was rather unbalanced in that respect. So having this, this outlet, if you like, is a sort of a key part of my week, and it energises me, for the things that I'm doing.
I've got a fairly stressful job. At times you can be quite pressurised and stressed, even walking into the rehearsal. But then the singing takes over and you start doing all different kind of stuff, and you start pulling funny faces and making strange noises and within the warming up. And then you start singing and enjoying the singing, or you enjoy the listening to people, and so it's a complete distraction of anything else. So of course at the end you feel totally relaxed. It's a very relaxing activity.
Music is this powerful, universal thing that is has huge significance to people, and I feel quite sort of an onlooker in a way, because people in the choir I'm aware are having profound experiences. We've had people who have sort of passed away while who are members of the choir, and then we've heard from their families at funerals how much the choir meant to them and how important it was in the and it's moments like that you realise that something beyond what's on paper is happening. People are actually finding meaning and stuff in this experience.
A few years ago I had a really difficult time, and I think I felt so I'd made myself tiny to kind of survive, and then not really present. I felt like I was here somewhere, but then I go to choir and you can't be like that. When you're singing with all those people, it would just bring me back into my body, if that makes sense. A really physical thing, I think.
When I started and I sat the altos at the back and didn't know anybody, which was quite a big step to go into the room. Over time I've got to know people, and I've been on the committee now, and made some really great friends as well.
I don't know, I've definitely had times when I've just been thinking like, well, if I can just get to Tuesday evening, everything will be okay. And, you know, and now I don't feel like that so much, but knowing that it's always there and that Tuesday evenings will be brilliant, no matter like how terrible a week you've had, that makes everything okay.
I think the choir now is quite a fulfilling part of my retirement. It's sort of, it gives me something to look forward to every week, and basically, as I say, it stops the boredom setting in being a retired person.
I've had quite a few like moments when this is like really special, and when they're singing really well, but then also connecting it with like a feeling or something behind it, and you see like sincerity on people's faces. Or the value then is not to then perform that and try and take that elsewhere. It's just that was a moment and that was special, and that's that. And like I sort of just keep those memories, I guess. And you might not ever do that again, but that was still worth it. That still had value. At the very beginning, it was sort of primarily just about teaching things like by ear and having them sung back, and I would have just expected to hear the right notes and that would have been fine. Now I won't take that because I know people can create and do stuff with their voices and like surprise themselves by what they're capable of, but they need someone to sort of allow them, give them permission to make a big noise and make a silly sound or something, and then, oh, that's crazy, I love this, you know.